As everyone stared in disbelief, Charlie slowly stood up. In an instant, every eye in the banquet hall was on him. "Charlie, what are you doing? Sit down," Elaine hissed, terrified. Didn't he know his place? With so many powerful people in the room, none of them had dared to stand up. And you, Charlie, a good-for-nothing son-in-law, what made him think he could steal the spotlight? Fred and Gerald shot each other a look, a wild thought crossing their minds. No way. Could the chairman of the Emgren Group really be him? But then they both shook their heads. Impossible. If he was really the chairman of Emgren, why would he let Elaine talk to him like that? "You piece of trash. Sit back down where you belong," Harold yelled from the stage, his face dark. Charlie gave him a cold glance, then walked straight toward Doris Young. He completely ignored the shocked stares from everyone in the room and whispered something in her ear. As he spoke, Doris Young nodded slightly. The sight made everyone's heart skip a beat. Doris Young, the vice chairman of the Emgren Group, the most famous beauty in all of Oris Hill. How could Charlie possibly know her? And from the looks of it, their relationship seemed pretty close. After he finished speaking, Charlie turned and walked out of the hall, ignoring all the eyes on him. He was going after Clare. But then Doris Young stood up, walked onto the stage, and took the microphone. Facing the sea of blank faces, she said, "Hello, everyone. I'm Doris Young. Mr. Charlie met our chairman outside just a moment ago. He was just delivering a message." Hearing that Charlie wasn't the chairman of Emgren, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Fred White let out a relieved breath and whispered with contempt, "So he just met the guy once and tried to use it to get close to the assistant. What a loser." Gerald shrugged and said with a smile, "That's just what pathetic little guys like him do." Just then, Doris Young, still on the stage, looked over at Mrs. Wilson, her expression turning icy. "The chairman has asked me to inform you of something. Effective immediately, the Emgren Group is terminating its cooperation with the Wilsons, and the signed contract is now void." The room erupted. No one expected Doris to say something like that. The sudden reversal left everyone completely stunned. Mrs. Wilson's face went white in an instant. She asked anxiously, "Dear Vice Chairman, what is this all about? Is there something our Wilson family did wrong?" Tonight, she had invited every respectable person in the city, hoping to use this opportunity to make a name for the Wilson family. If, in front of everyone, they were crushed underfoot right after securing the cooperation, it would be a total disaster. Doris said, "This project was originally approved by our chairman because of Miss Clare. That's why we agreed to cooperate with you. But you went ahead and made your own decision, putting some random person in charge of the project. I'm sorry, we can't accept that." After saying her piece, Doris put down the microphone and walked out of the room without a backward glance. Mrs. Wilson's face was ashen. She slumped onto the stage, completely defeated. She never imagined that her moment of cleverness would have ruined this golden opportunity for good. If she had known this would happen, she never would have let Harold take Clare's directorship. Harold was also at a complete loss. What just happened? It felt like Doris was deliberately targeting him, but he hadn't even done anything to offend her. Harold couldn't help but ask Mrs. Wilson, "Grandma, the director's appointment has already been announced. You're not going to take it back, are you?" Mrs. Wilson struggled to her feet, raised her hand, and slapped him across the face. She scolded him angrily. "You worthless fool. Even now you're still thinking about the directorship." When Charlie stepped outside, he found Clare not far away. She was squatting in a quiet corner next to the hotel, crying her heart out. He walked over slowly, took off his coat, and draped it over her shoulders. "Honey, don't be sad," he said softly. "The director position at the Wilson family isn't that great anyway. It's wrong for them to treat you like this." "You don't understand," Clare whimpered. "If I become the director, my parents could finally hold their heads high in the family." How could Grandma go back on her word like that? Charlie continued trying to cheer her up. "Maybe they'll have to come begging you to be the director. You're crying so much now your makeup will be a mess if you have to go back on stage." Clare choked on a sob. "How is that possible?" Grandma made her decision. There's no chance she'll change her mind. Just leave me alone. Just then, Mrs. Wilson and Harold burst out of the banquet hall. Mrs. Wilson was old and out of breath from running. A large crowd of guests followed them out, eager to see the drama unfold. When Harold saw Charlie and Clare, he rushed over. He glared down at Clare and snapped, "Clare, hurry up and go after Miss Doris. Tell her not to terminate the cooperation with us." Clare looked up, confused. "Terminate the cooperation? Why?" Harold said angrily. "Stop pretending you're so innocent. You must have told Miss Doris to embarrass me in public. If you don't fix this, I'll make you pay." Mrs. Wilson, who was standing right there, slapped Harold across the face again. "You fool! How dare you talk to your sister like that? She is the director of our Wilson group." Harold was stunned. "But Grandma, you chose me as the director," Mrs. Wilson said furiously. "If you hadn't filled my head with your nonsense, I never would have changed my mind in the first place. If you keep arguing, you can get out of the Wilson family." Having been slapped twice by Mrs. Wilson, Harold was furious, but he didn't dare say another word. He could only bite his tongue and swallow his anger. Mrs. Wilson then turned to Clare and pleaded, "Clare, Grandma is begging you. You are the director of the Wilson family now. Please, hurry and talk to Miss Doris. Otherwise, our family will be ruined." Clare looked at Charlie, her face a mask of confusion. Charlie just shrugged. "I told you they'd come begging you to be the director. You didn't believe me, see? Now your makeup is all runny." Clare blushed, quickly wiping away her tears. "Okay," she said. "I'll try to contact Emgrand." With that, she dialed Doris's number. All eyes were on her. After a moment, the call went through. Clare said, "Hello, Miss Young. My grandmother asked me to call and explain. I've been promoted to director for the Wilson family, and I'll be in charge of the cooperation with Emgrand. Can you give us another chance?" Doris laughed lightly. "If you're the director and you're the one in charge, then there's no problem. The cooperation can continue. But if it's someone else, then things stay as they are. Miss Young, thank you so much." Clare was still confused by the whole thing. From the very beginning, it seemed like the Emgrand group was going out of its way just to help her, which felt really strange. Doris said with a smile, "This is what our chairman wanted. If there's an opportunity in the future, he'll explain it to you himself." This only made Clare more confused. Who was this chairman? She had never seen him. Why was he helping her so much? Then, "Could you please come back to the banquet hall?" Clare asked nervously. The woman had left in a huff, clearly annoyed with the Wilson family. Asking her to come back now seemed like a long shot. But to her surprise, Doris agreed without hesitation. Soon, everyone saw Doris's car pull back up to the hotel entrance. In that moment, everyone stared at Clare, their expressions a mix of shock and awe. When everyone was back in the banquet hall, Mrs. Wilson took Clare's hand and led her onto the stage. Putting on a show of closeness, she said, "I am so sorry about what happened earlier. It was my mistake. Actually, we have Clare to thank for all of this. She's the most outstanding member of the Wilson family. The cooperation between the Wilson family and Ford Fusion is all thanks to Clare's hard work. She put in a tremendous effort." Doris Young, standing beside her, shot her a look of contempt. She held up a hand to cut her off. "Let me correct you on that," she said. "For this cooperation, Miss Clare didn't just make a great effort. It's happening entirely because of her. It has nothing to do with anyone else. It was incredibly rude, but no one was surprised. With the power Doris held, she could have slapped Mrs. Wilson right there in public, and the old woman wouldn't have dared to say a word." Mrs. Wilson nodded quickly. "Miss Young is right. All the credit goes to Clare. From now on, Clare will be the director of the Wilson family's business. She will be fully responsible for the cooperation between the Wilson family and the Emgrand group." A small smile appeared on Doris's face. She shook Clare's hand and said, "I look forward to a successful partnership." Clare, still a bit lost, could only nod in a daze. The room erupted in thunderous applause. Everyone looked at Clare, their eyes full of admiration. This woman was going places. The Emgren group took her so seriously. Claire herself was just as confused. She turned to look at Charlie. The situation was exactly as he had predicted. Mrs. Wilson had given her back the director position that should have been hers all along. Even after the banquet ended and they were back home, Claire was still in a daze. Thinking back to what Charlie had said, she couldn't help but feel puzzled. Over the past few days, Charlie seemed different. It felt like there was a lot about him she didn't understand, as if he were surrounded by a fog. That night, Claire became famous in Orris Hill. Everyone knew there was a rising star in the Wilson family, and that the Emgren group had her back. It seemed that with her, the Wilson family's comeback was just around the corner. The next morning, Claire woke up early, feeling refreshed, and hurried to the office. Today was her first day as director. She hoped she could give it her all and do a great job. After Charlie got up, he went about his usual routine of doing the housework. Charlie had just finished his chores and was about to head to the market for groceries when he got a sudden call from his mother-in-law, Elaine. He answered, and her frantic voice came through the phone. "Charlie, you have 10 minutes to get down to Safety Lane, or I swear you'll regret it when I get home." With that, she hung up. Charlie was confused. He hadn't heard from his mother-in-law all morning, and now she was calling in a panic like it was some kind of emergency. Even though Charlie couldn't stand his mother-in-law, he didn't dare ignore her demand. He quickly tidied up, then went outside to hail a cab and rushed over to Safety Lane. When he got out of the car, he saw a group of older folks angrily gathered in front of a closed insurance company. And right at the front of the crowd was his mother-in-law, holding a banner and shouting, "Harley is trash, a total scam. We want our rights and we want our hard-earned money back." Charlie hurried over to her. "Mom, you called me. What's going on?" As he spoke, the angry chants started up again, the crowd of seniors shouting so loudly it made his ears ring. Elaine pulled Charlie into her spot and ordered, "Here, you take over. Shout the slogan for me. I've been yelling all morning, and my voice is shot."